Ora Kwame Brobapia ending komo one no executive secretary Edma Ekobia Yatudin say advocacy for medical malpractice victims na many no ending komo Kwame what me kind of my chance to say
Mr. Speaker me too nka me jo so na wonso e
ready the enquire ho ye
nyame adom kaka
when was the last time I was visiting in big hospitals and the no bed syndrome no ababe something ya post a country as you need ho
Mr. Speaker, better na macha for mutie Kessben anopay. No syndrome ya o kan wasemi. A problem e wo Ghana any ewiase afane na. Na yehwa Mr. Speaker. Empempia and some say baba bonti ba be di hun komo no. Na me dream say subo no the first one that I to abai. But uhwe hu make me a problem make me chemu miensa. Egu ahodo miensa ana yesime nkomo yi
kwabi cheche mu da yanko miteo
edikan aban no wo na owo se oye ene number 1 number 2 yan kasa as patients na your hospital no akwakopa ya resa no yenso ye contribute to the of no bed and we are explaining and etoso miensa within the hospital setup no decisions are the management of the hospitals any clinician omo maya ya resa no and also affecting whether or not the ability of beds in the health facilities. And just starting free patients in this was healthcare a shared responsibility. You go so what about so 1 year BBA ama want to provide the beds no. Yes we were said I was say Mr. Speaker you say number 1, so what we want Ghana and plenty nipa bebe I know mukaya sabia woman content. And the delay in seeking healthcare or seeking medical treatment one major problem. The American is say sabi obianya ya reference ya or the tifia on fan kochina e be kwa kodu bekintamu no na fe de serious. What it means they say Yari and Koyanke, which my diagnosing and treating an outpatient, severe malaria. So it means that we need to admit them. If we admit this patient who could have been seen and discharged, taken back home, it means to occupy a babako. Actually, critical case by Nampanem Farman because Nipanan, which were treating malaria and them no kufino, Wamantem, and to buy no, more critical condition, only poor bedaso. And then number 1, the people say a dear problems way back. Delay in seeking health care, no. 1, the decision to go a buonoma only seek out the hospital to agree or won't mean Piaka, don't go to a draw, won't mean talk. Oko rural settings now. Decision buonoma said it is the head of the farm. Okumu and papa or Debusiano that I may home family or even say Umira me home. On the better say can have a hospital. If you don't know one hospital in Tama, that decision, that delay in even making that decision alone will contribute to the situation that we have here. If one man religious beliefs on hospital or back for years beautiful for a bedroom the one or complications no you need to America for that hospital and you managing complications are difficult. They take time and they consume a lot of other things. Or the whole man only want them that because I was saying now but then yetimi ehwe no ansana ne hoato no enkoma me boss nyina ebe wie se emme na ekono because process no started from the day to go wanta wada ho na wotwe mienu na wotwe mensa. Mr. Speaker, so share World Health Organization now omo aye patient to bed ratio omo say in every country no omo collective all hospitals within countries are we reacting na say there should be an allocation of 5 beds per 1,000 population. What it means is that say 20,000 apemwa, we need to make provision for 5 beds for all these people. Obviously, omunyanya at the same time. I don't know the statistics though, but then it obviously means that we might not be able to meet that requirement. The patients no hospital them, and no problem. The challenge of even seeing a doctor is one problem. Or who doctor or laboratory investigations. Mr. Speaker, Obu no ma obeko no Dampaso Hospital. Or the whole ma dey na etwen a your food black count. E bi be don't share na num ye fa ba. And don't say all these decisions are, health practitioners based on some of these investigations.
Okay.
Here's the case: the patient is lying on the bed. The labs might not be functional. If they are functional, they do have reagent idea. And you might be brave. Like also, and the answer now, doctor, need to proper diagnosis. Now, when you definitive treatment, our patient, na embryo quantity. All the time is taken, meaning that any other person that comes after you because no bed also could see. Now, these are some of the issues as patients, and I'm saying, as from by trying to seek health care earlier, which could have prevented situations of complications that may occupy hospital beds unnecessarily. And I'm saying, this problem will be there.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is, we can never have enough beds in the hospitals. We only need to manage patient care. That's what people are not looking at. Every time it is there, no bed. We always focus attention on the gap. It is true. I'll come to the role of the gap. But then we as patients, we also need to be mindful. Let us seek early interventions to avoid situations like occupying beds that will prevent or be in the case near critical now.
I'm very happy that yes, why enumerate all the factors are delays, on the part of the patient. ABS Kasem, AB Panigidi, or Yaria Wadium, or Yaria Man Fan Hospital. We credit a Yankopon a Yarista for him. And the hospital there, one congestion. We are human beings. But knowing very well the health facilities are dealing with human beings. And knowing the behavior of the Ghanaian people and then the African mentality, okay? Hospital management, at any point in time, what are they supposed to do in ensuring at any point in time there is a vacuum and obiba with such conditions nipa no ebenya baby ada because we have emergency cases.
But as we got me know something that make us a medical can say show from I don't think I'm a medical say yes starting from here patients because I don't really know the patient in your hospital can say it is a and the purpose of our conversation is for education. It is me say one moment here they and fire didn't see baby for funny and say yes we can be and obasa so the bear who wants to say one impress one numbers a bear say who will say about the hospital management. Mr. Speaker, hospitals and plenty omoka will be and a bed a day and hokoba asem. A day in America, they say, Mamma from all say, Yahanum tertiary centers now, most of the times, every referral centers, and also. Ofa Confanoche, Kulebu, Tamale teaching. I don't know about Cape Coast now. If you have few hospitals now, or tertiary hospitals they have the full, medical facilities and everything. Now, I know a lot of these before. You go to the hospital, there's a patient, inpatient, you're managing. Mr. Speaker, MPP, Obakono, medical officer, rest specialist, all the healthcare, and this work. It is a medical officer, had a patient, they're born as well. Resident, Nantia, of course, specialist, and certain clinical decisions can be made. Mr. Speaker, all these hospitals down. Before we don't want to shift our mindset to any other thing. Traditionally, you would say your clinical team way or world rounds. It is an what you don't know. Team world rounds that cry. Certain decisions cannot be made. What it means is that there might be a patient on the bed who should have been discharged, but because the team does not come on what rounds, as a team, and it's our team, there are pharmacists womb, we womb, no by way. Opa, me no can say we are hospitals no. What rounds once in a week.
Yeah.
Certain decisions the doctor, the junior doctor cannot make. So what it means is that
specialists and mass specialists in the bank.
Exactly. They say there have been situations Nipani here member, you see a friend phone so near friend and doctor case we say patient now you say if we friend either say go through or to be on and give you own fee. If you who they were and I'm so won't change man I say them why but some of the patients are there who ought to have been discharged and they are still occupying beds. And sometimes the more they lay on beds, the more they also get their money. So that is one reason that will account for why you the hospital and they turn you away and say there's no bed. Meanwhile, there's a patient on the bed who don't be there, who doesn't need to be there. Wasn't care discharge, and only one. It's the lack of clinical teams now, or more making decisions once a week, because traditionally, in our team we go for ward rounds as a team, clinical team once a week. Mr. Speaker, why don't we revise the situation?
Okay.
And look at the facts there. And can't there are condition situations now on and to say
and population no so say.
Exactly. Population in so meaning that people who come in and lie, inpatients, will not be as much as it used to be. Other than let us double up our effort. It is a clinical team now. I want the full complement of consultants, specialists, residents, and everybody know. Ward rounds once a week. I didn't say and I think but there's a fundamental problem. The question is, how many of these consultants do we have?
Okay.
How many of these specialists do we have? And so then the question is, if they want to go on ward rounds every day, it is going to be practically difficult for them. So one of the issues, I don't know. I think so. There's one critical thing, Mr. Speaker, I'm Ghana as on my entry in court.
Me too, Kwame.
Unim say, you quite a sabia. And I'm saying, yeah, be my money, Ghana, ya didn't woo a before for it is very difficult for our practitioners to discuss issues about, Nipano, Nevi, say, Oba Bewu, because they are Ubewu one day. Now, Obakwako 2 hospitals, no patients, no. Say, doctors near prognosis now, in the condition. May they example, if you are on a ma or certain condition, I do terminal stage, only palliative care, and symptomatic, Abia, Mefa say, one and who I don't know, common and do it, no pain, but the actual cause, no. It will be all cancer, a progressive baby. Mr. Speaker, why do you keep that person on the bed? But the challenge is that it is difficult for the health practitioners to break that news and talk about the end and tell the person, say, look, baby, our audition, what about between the sebi. One day, Nipan also film. At the end of life, how are we going to manage this person?
Okay.
It is the belief of these health practitioners who say, hospital. But that is not the case. If you are able to break the news and discuss with the families, baby, I do need it. They do know, they won't say it. So you go to the hospital, the big hospitals, there are a lot of people occupying the beds who would eventually die anyways, but then they could have been taught it to understand the fact that they can't do much to manage the situation. It is only palliative care that they can give to the patient. And Uncle Kwame, Mr. Speaker,
yeah,
hospice care. Hospice care, no, as you said, palliative care, lawyer, they will come and counsel you and let you say, oh, baby, I will do the doctor for say, yeah, baby, it's a dual coffee. So, baby, I better do your phobia, or your will, no more. So, for this, counsel. But in Ghana, we don't do that because nobody wants to break the bad news. And so you realize that you have a lot of patients on the bed whose conditions cannot be managed, but they will still be kept on the bed. So what it means is that the next person coming from the house will be turned away. So the situation of no bed will never stop. Now, another matter is, within the hospitals, referral centers now, say, Mr. Speaker, different departments are maybe hospital. Ordinary and our hospital. The Oshé no air Jimuna who said there be I did be Hanma and was called general surgery. Now there are no proper linkages between even interdepartmental basis. No.
Okay.
It is a now patients need that ABR or the baby. So our case we are the bay had the say some of we in a baby shemau. Say by young for no crab patients in our and that's all patients in every who was it? Patient need damn paso. A certain ward or a certain department. They had the almost consult, you refer a commander department say, your case you are known, how long the Osamoba, near the boom, you know how to manage it, Massa. Say, yeah, they not sample for them, I didn't do my busy. While they are still busy, the pet is lying on the bed. It's what I'm trying to say in effect, they say. If we don't step up our game and manage these internal challenges, even if we have 5 million beds, they will still not be enough. And he almost said, patient hospital and linkage is not anyone into the patient will be there wasting everybody's time, reducing the bed for which reason or also could feel department for. Answer na yamna me fan kono. Every 2 days, every 3 days. And because of the nature of care that is given to the patient, some of these decisions would have to be made collectively as a facility. It is a whole patient you eye for the womb, maybe a general surgery for the womb, maybe a way for the womb. Obia back together timeously. Making say it also minimize this situation we find ourselves in with the issue of lack of beds. And again, you mentioned about the hospitals and what they are doing. There's an issue of lack of decisive clinical decisions and actions. Patients are bad now. Yes, no. Yes, me who they find no. What do we do next? What to do next? No, what the doctor say oba. Doctor say oba. Doctor say okohaba. Why? Because only the one year patient, no. And I think some my patient where they I do my money do I my money where I'm far or where ba masa. And these things I'm talking to you about, they are practical things. I may sure say you see for multi or pay obia jebida obia shebida. Just that and train why didn't go to say no bed, na honey free back. And that Taraba to a show, when you make a decision, be out to me take him, be now with our train. A do a cry now. At the end of the day, man, a bit what to know. So, if you know the bear answer, also that was I say, the minimum, what is the next thing to do? Make a definite decision on what to do. And yet, and Mr. Speaker, and prepare you, many budget. And before I come hospital, you know why? Some of them don't have time for this government job. When you look more ready, and now in the private hospital, by a consultant, if you're back and say, I case you back, when you know a day, wouldn't be a cost. Sabi doctor and Kuma for you, on can a beer, not they all describe their child. What getting wrong? If you want what you them over you, and now your private business, only private hospital, and now try to come your baby. Now I feel when I see I can't say when you me, who patients in the condition. Now I can't say, Munyan say, do you know what it means? They will either go to complicate the situation or something else. So that patient that could have been left off the hook is still there because of certain decisions and the actions to be taken after these decisions.
Okay.
There are patients here, there are hospitals because Abino answer a very key role.
I didn't necessarily buy any year 1 year.
Mr. Speaker, number one, we don't invest in healthcare as a country. The investment in healthcare is very, very low. And why am I saying this? Look at this situation. No, say that they can't say agenda 111. We don't see it. And that is also something that affects patient safety. Free say, Mr. Speaker, the entire pressure about all these referral centers.
Hospital, yeah.
And I say, tertiary hospitals, and this is saying, me, Grebi Asen Amiari. Me call, this is what to look at the Biniho, Community Health Center, a Biniho, Bibianiho. What do I do? Mental phenomenon, we, Meba Confanochi, Moko Kolebu, Moko Tamale teaching us, Moko Cape Coast. Meaning that the situation that should have been seen by elsewhere, or and there are people who don't have referrals, but they go to these referral hospitals because when you mobile or Ladam for a doctor, you're a pharmacist, you fire biomedical scientist, and you know whether you have a referral or not. What is the essence of the referral? It is that the patient or the doctor at the lower level cannot manage the condition. A lot of people visit these big hospitals with no referral. Simply because they know these people. So they will compound the situation, add up to the people inpatient, and then bring the situation. Now, Makasa about lack of infrastructural development. You need hospitals enough. Looking at the population which is growing by the day. We don't have the facilities that would absorb these people when they are sick. What it means is that these people would have to run to these bigger facilities to seek health care. Another one. Number two, NSA. I should be able to help. In any case, they are doing it now because specialist training has been made free.
Yeah.
But Mr. Speaker, conditions now one time what you go free no. Because I will say a bundle for this number of years. And even sometimes when you're not coming from a already existing center, not a private sector, they'll ask you to pay a fee paying. Because when I fee baby bano, or center nebu kiyama, or as matter specialist what it means is that we cannot have people with a specialty to make certain decisions at that lower level to avoid those unnecessary referrals and then people putting into the tertiary hospital. So when they come, they will occupy their beds and there will be no beds. So aban obwa in training, healthcare givers to a certain level that they can be spread across. But this is the problem. Mr. Speaker, nipa na ko training no we na wa be specialist na so wa be e be a fellow no. Ya posting it in a class. A class where there are no amenities. Baby or better a problem. Meaning doctors are you cry or mufie bi ma. If you are not a doctor, no go hang of one man condition favorable. Or better than why you man. It was around 2 months no find a back no janico. So then we come back to square one because nobody would want to be in a harsh condition. Sabi or Nabusi and Kwakota in China, school and a mabako a problem. Community no amenities be any into your baby, I give you 2 question and you want baby. It's my dream, say, to avoid some of these things, to be able to spread healthcare across board. So there won't be any pressure on the tertiary and referral centers. The government has a lot to do in terms of development of infrastructure, equipping them, retooling the already existing hospitals. Because if the hospital is sitting as a structure, not only the equipment to work with, the same problem will come. There will still be no bed.
All right. Probably, I don't pay my mind now, I say.
Macha.
Mr. Executive Secretary Edema Advocacy for Medical Malpractice Victims. Not many in the common. Waakye Brobapia. Very interesting. And the amount of you need to know, quite interesting. Because you're finding it on the